great. So here's another great big stinker and a huge pile of trash that you really should not watch unless you're just morbidly curious. I can honestly just end this right there, but I guess I should go a bit more into what I feel about this thing. Released on June 20th, 2003, I've already given you my opinion on this movie, but I should probably just get started with the various sins. So I guess we should start with the plot, which is one of the biggest sins. Our story begins with David Banner, the father of Bruce Banner, who's looking for a way to create super soldiers who aren't Captain America because that's not a thing yet. Not having permission to move on human testing, he of course does mad scientist rule number 5 and begins testing on himself. While he does this, he accidentally knocks up his wife and produces a son who inherits the effects of the genetic tampering, Bruce. After an accident that was caused by his father, Bruce is raised by another family and starts to romance with Betty Ross, daughter of military general Thunderbolt Ross, who was in charge of his father at the time, before the accident. After an accident with the gamma radiation, Bruce begins to turn into the Hulk, a green-skinned monster that responds to his rage. With this, David comes back into Bruce's life trying to figure out how the Hulk works and how to make that effect work on him in order to get his revenge against everyone else. General Thunderbolt Ross is after the Hulk, believing he's a general threat, and Bruce has to manage both of them while trying to figure out how to control the monster within. And I'm not talking about the old TV show. So I guess I should say something good before we dive into the shit. First off, Ang Lee, the director, does use his skill as a director, and everyone does their job. The movie is well produced, is what I'm trying to get at. The actors are all believable, and the stuff works exactly. The exploration of what makes Bruce Banner the Hulk psychologically instead of just going with the typical Jekyll and Hyde scenario does also work. We're done with praises? We're done with praises. Let's dive into the crap! First off, well, I said everyone did their job. Someone fucked up in the lighting department. I don't know if it was Ang Lee or there was a guy who just didn't want to do his job that day, but they should have been fired because there are various points in this movie where it's too dark to see anything. I swear, if it wasn't for the fact that the sound was still on, I swear the TV was off or the video port was broken because I could not see anything. Special moments go to when the Hulk fought against the Gamma Dogs because you cannot see that fight. You can try to see that fight, you turn the brightness up all you want, but it is too dark to see that fight. Too dark. I get that they're trying to do something similar to Jaws with the shark. They didn't want to show you the Hulk right off the bat, they wanted to build up suspense about it, but at the same time, don't have a fight scene when you're trying to do this Jaws thing because it's annoying when you're focusing on the fight scene and you don't see the fight. You get where I'm going with this? Apparently they didn't. It just doesn't work. Secondly, there's Major Glenn Talbot. He's just there to be an asshole. He's a typical doing whatever he can to rise to the top, sacrificing whoever he can to do it, trying to seduce Betty because that'll get around with her father, and then now raise his position, hates Bruce because he's with Betty. You know, he's just that asshole, and he just doesn't work. He's really just an annoyance to this whole thing, and it's just kind of annoying comic relief towards the end. He just does not work. And finally, there's David Banner. His motivation, outside of being mentally unstable and unintelligible, is confusing. So he starts off wanting to make super soldiers because that's his job. Then he finds out his son has been affected by his research and tries to fix it. Then the military finds out. He kills his own wife for some reason, and he blows up the base for some reason. I get that he didn't want to get in trouble for this, but he could have been like, look, I know I fucked up, but my son's in trouble now, and I don't want you to hurt him, and just let me do what I need to do to fix my son. You can kill me later. I get that he might not have had that as an option to do, but when he does come back for Bruce after the Hulk stuff happens, he starts using him as a pincushion to test his own experiments and see what makes the Hulk work so he can get his powers. And I have no idea. I guess it's jealousy over the Hulk, so that's just weird. And if you're wondering if there's a comparison between the comics, it's technically about 3 different characters. He has the powers of Absorbing Man when he first starts off, then turns into something like Zazix, who's this electro monster towards the end of the movie when he's the giant cloud thing, and he has shades of the leader in his personality, and the just doesn't work as a combined character. It just feels weird. On top of that, the final clash between father and son is ultimately weak. It's just nothing more than a giant cloud. And as we'll learn soon with Fantastic Four, a giant cloud as a climax does not work. Overall, as I said earlier, this movie is a gigantic load. Nothing too great, and something that honestly should be avoided in favor of The Incredible Hulk, which is a much better movie. But I will say that their attempt to analyze the Hulk psychologically is pretty impressive. Outside of that, completely forgettable. Don't waste your time. Move on to another Marvel movie. So until next time.